Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Yellow. Last time, we made our way through most of the trainers of Route 11, and we got ourselves Wartortle, fully evolved. Well, not fully evolved, but newly evolved, we'll say. Super duper cool. And this time, we are going to be progressing even further along this route, probably beating the last, I want to say, 2 trainers we have to beat, and then getting on with our adventure. Now, one thing I feel is definitely worth pointing out is if I have projected this correctly, and I'm hoping I have, this episode is coming out on the day of the launch of the Nintendo Switch, which is really, really crazy to think about. I'm actually recording the episode that's going up on that day because, man oh man, am I looking forward to that day, and I realized I probably should have healed a little bit. I did not heal in between episodes. Probably not a good call on my part, but I didn't really want to accidentally run into a trainer off-screen walking back, because I haven't really been keeping track of who we fought and who we haven't. But I think we can make it work. But yeah, Nintendo Switch is coming out on the day this episode comes out. Now, I pre-ordered the system for store pickup at Best Buy pretty much the instant it got announced. Like, basically the instant pre-orders went up, I made sure to get in on it because, man, I want to play me some Zelda on the go, because literally, for the 2 days after the Nintendo Switch comes out, I'm going to be out of the house, which is pretty fitting because now I can take Zelda anywhere and not interact with the human beings I'm going to be staying with, because that's the priorities we have going here, right? I mean, it's been, what, almost 6 years since the last console Zelda game? Really, really crazy stuff. I remember when Skyward Sword was coming out, and man, I was so excited. And I feel like the feeling for Breath of the Wild is like 10 times that even. I didn't even know it was possible. Gambler's first loss, and yet he doesn't give us very much money. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so I guess you guys can talk about the Nintendo Switch in the comments below if you guys have bought it or anything. But yeah, I ordered it from Best Buy at in-store pickup, and then only after the fact I learned that the Best Buy I ordered it from is actually doing a midnight release, which is crazy. And the crazy part is, on that Thursday, March 2nd, I have class, not non-stop, but my first class starts at 10:05 a.m. and my last class ends at 7:25 p.m. Yeah, so I have a lot of class that day, and then I'm going to be staying up until midnight and driving down to that that store to pick up my console, and then I'm going to bring it over here, set it up. I don't know if I'm going to play it or if I'm just going to pass out and go to bed, but yeah, I've never actually been to a midnight release before. Although I do have a funny story. When Ocarina of Time 3D was coming out, they had this promotion going on Club Nintendo where you could get a soundtrack for the game if you registered your game quick enough, because, like, you know, they had limited supplies and things like that. So I was like, okay, well, no store is really having a midnight release for Ocarina of Time 3D, because honestly it wasn't that big of a deal back then. So I figured, you know what, I'll just go to Walmart and buy it at midnight, because, you know, Walmart's open 24/7, so I can just go to Walmart and get it. So I had to stay up until midnight with my dad, because that was before I was licensed to drive, and wow, this guy has a magneton. That scares me quite a bit, actually. So yeah, we stayed up, we drove down to Walmart, just to find out that the one guy on staff was absolutely convinced that games only ever came out on Tuesdays. You might remember that Ocarina of Time 3D came out on a Sunday. So yeah, this guy would not sell us the game because he was convinced it wasn't coming out until the following Tuesday. Yeah. So we had to leave without the game and then come back to a different store when they opened in the morning to get the game. I still got the soundtrack, but seriously, like, that's my Walmart experience, and did I seriously just miss Slam twice? Yeah, I just missed Slam twice. Are you kidding? That never happens. Alright, it looks like we're gonna have to heal ourselves up a bit. Alright, we're gonna potion Ivysaur right here, because I'm pretty sure Ivysaur cannot get one-shotted by this Magneton right here. And wow, Bellsprout actually survived that, so we're gonna do another potion right there. Alright. This is what happens when you're commentating a video game and not paying attention to what is actually happening on screen. You're gonna have some issues there. And yeah, I had a feeling. Down we go. Unfortunate, but them's the ropes. Alright, Ivysaur. This is your time to shine, because, like, you're literally my only hope, because if I try and send out Wartortle against this guy, we're gonna have an issue, because Wartortle is 100% grade A water type. Alright, there we go, we won. Whoa, you spark plug. What? Okay. Alright, I'm pretty sure I fought everybody on this route. I think I fought that guy, because that should have been the other engineer. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over this way, because I know there's no trainers this way. When you catch lots of Pokemon, isn't it hard to think up names? In Lavender Town, there's a man who rates Pokemon nicknames. He'll help you rename them, too. Yep, back before the days of the name filter, you could name your Pokemon whatever the heck you wanted. Alright, do you have a trade? I'm looking for Lickitung. Want to trade one for Dugtrio. Interesting. Now, I wouldn't recommend this trade because there's actually a Dugtrio you can catch right around here, right now, basically. Looked into the binoculars, a big Pokemon is asleep on the road. As we are going to see in about a minute and a half, those binoculars are pointed the complete wrong direction. Hi, remember me? I'm Professor Oak's aide. If you caught 30 kinds of Pokemon, I'm supposed to give you an item finder. Have we caught at least 30? Yes. Let's see, we've caught only 22 kinds of Pokemon. We need 30 kinds if we want the item finder. Okay, so keep this guy in mind. When we get 30 kinds, we're going to want to come back and talk to him to get the item finder. Alright, is there a hidden item here? I could swear there was. No. That's interesting. Anyway, right here, a sleeping Pokemon blocks the way. It is indeed over here in the east instead of the north, so yeah, don't ask me how that works. Anyway, if you want to grab the item finder now, it is of course entirely possible to have 30 kinds of Pokemon by this point in the game. Basically what you do is you use it and it will sound this little sound and it'll say, hey, there is an item near here. And then it is up to you to go and find it. Yep. And the thing is, since you can't actually register key items to the select button in Generation 1, you have to go into the menu and use the item finder every single time if you want to triangulate something. So honestly, in Generation 1, it's pretty useless. I really, really wouldn't recommend going out of your way to get it, unless you're just going for completion, just because A, it's really cumbersome to use, and B, places like Bulbapedia will be able to tell you down to the tile where every hidden item is in the entire game, so honestly, I wouldn't stress out about it. And I do have to say, just to ask a favor of the commenters, it's entirely possible I will completely forget that that is even there, so when I do eventually get 30 kinds, please remind me to go back and get that item just so I can show it. Alright, anyway, here we are allowed to buy repels, so I think we're gonna buy 5, I think will work. Alright. Just so we can get through the upcoming area pretty quickly, because next up we are heading into Diglett's Cave. Now, you know, every single Pokemon we can encounter in here, Wartortle is capable of taking on pretty easily, so I think I'll actually not use the repels just to get a little bit of experience. What a surprise, Diglett's dug this long tunnel. It goes right to Viridian City. Notice how he said Digletts as plural. Technically a grammatical error in the game right here. Interesting stuff. Anyhow, I kind of want to complain a little bit about this area. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, they made this area astoundingly long, and I have no idea why. Honestly, above anything else, it's excruciatingly frustrating. I have no idea why they did it. It's just, it's so stupid. how long it takes to get through this area in Fire Red and Leaf Green. Like, it's laughable. Anyway, do we have Pokeballs? We do. So, we might as well get the data for this, because we do not have Diglett. And in fact, Diglett and its evolved form Dugtrio are the only Pokemon that appear in this area. And it's worth noting, Dugtrio can appear in this area as high as, I believe, level 30, which is crazy. It prefers dark places. It spends most of its time underground, though it may pop up in caves. But yeah, if you come in here and catch a Dugtrio before taking on the gym leader, you are going to have an incredibly easy time, because you can catch Dugtrio in here that out-level Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. So if you can get a hold of one, and you just want to cheese that fight, go right on ahead and do it, because that is a really, really good strategy for taking on that fight. Alright, one more water... Nose Dig. That's disappointing. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you can use Dig in caves like this to actually instantly warp out. So basically, if your Pokemon knows Dig, it's an escape rope that you can use multiple times, which is really, really nice in certain situations. Anyhow, Wartortle gets level 17, which is awesome. Now, I'm almost certain there's hidden items in this cave, but I'll be honest, I have no idea where they are. So, I don't think I'm going to stress out about it too terribly much. And wow, level 21. These are really high-level Pokemon, so if you can get through these guys and take these on, like, you can get some serious experience from these guys. Alright, what?! Oh... Seriously? Like, for real right now? This game... Honestly, sometimes I feel like this game outright cheats. Like, seriously. And I know I just said seriously about 100 times here, but it's something that makes me, to quote a character in Pokemon, seriously upset. It makes me seriously upset. Alright. Took him out there. You know what? Since Ivysaur is equally capable of taking these guys out, I'll just switch it out into the front so we can get experience on that front, if we want to. And of course, no more wild encounters all the way to the end of the cave. What do you have to say? I went to Rock Tunnel, but it's dark and scary. If the Pokemon's Flash could light it up. Yes, indeed. That is where we're going next. We need a move called Flash, and as you can see, I keep expecting these signs to give route numbers, but they don't. We are now on Route 2, so if you brought a Pokemon with Cut, this allows you to jump right back here to Pewter City, Viridian City, all these places like that. And I want to say there was actually a cut tree that we could use. Not use. There was a tree that we could cut over here, I want to say, that we didn't get a chance to last time because we didn't have cut. Yes, indeed there is. So I definitely want to show this because this is definitely something interesting that someone might not think to go and check out. I want to say this is the only thing that requires cut in these areas where we're not going for story purposes, so something to check out. We are proud of 2 fossils of very rare prehistoric What? We are proud of 2 fossils of very rare prehistoric Pokemon. That is some clunky text right there. The amber is clear and gold. Shush, I think this chunk of amber contains Pokemon DNA. It would be great if Pokemon could be resurrected from it. But my colleagues just ignore me, so I have a favor to ask. Take this to a Pokemon lab and get it examined, and we instantly get the old amber. This is basically a second fossil. Now, I deposited the other fossil in the PC, and I'll probably do the same with this one, because, as with that one, it's going to be a long time before we can address this. You can't sneak in the back way. Oh, whatever. Do you know what amber is? Indeed I do. I watched Jurassic Park. There's a lab somewhere trying to resurrect ancient Pokemon from amber. Very cool, very interesting indeed. Something you definitely are going to want to keep in mind for later. Anyway, since we're here, we might as well patronize the local Pokemon Center because we took a bit of damage in the Diglett cave, which is unfortunate. But I guess them's the ropes. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are now fully healed. Very good. Thank you, your Pokemon are fighting fit. Of course they are, because that is your job. Alright, I'm going to switch Wartortle back into the front here, and now we are going to want to head back over to Route 2 because there is something there we really, really, really want to get. Can you guess what it is? It's been mentioned by name this episode. Alright, and of course back into the menu because nothing's ever easy in Generation 1. Alright, let's head on around here. I want to say there's an item up here. Maybe it's hidden. Oh, this is too much area to check, really. I don't know. Maybe there is something there, maybe there isn't. But anyway, what we want to do is we want to head down south this way. And I want to make special mention of this house. A fainted Pokemon can't fight, but it can still use moves like Cut. Yes, you can, because you do not want to get stuck. I'm looking for Clefairy. Want to trade one for Mr. Mime? This is, believe it or not, the only way in the entire game that you can get a hold of a Pokemon called Mr. Mime. Really, really interesting stuff. I'm not going to do this right now, but it's definitely something you want to keep in mind. Clefairy is pretty darned rare, though, so you're going to want to keep a hold of that Clefairy if you value it in any particular way. But I mean, if you don't want Clefairy and you want the extra data, go ahead, grab that Mr. Mime. Anyway, cutting down this tree allows us to get into this building. We are around the side of Viridian Forest, which is pretty interesting. Once a Pokemon learns Flash, you can get through Rock Tunnel. Awesome. Hi, remember me? I'm Professor Oak's aide. If you caught 10 kinds of Pokemon, I'm supposed to give you an HM05. Yes, we have caught at least 10 kinds of Pokemon. In fact, we've caught 23. So, we get the HM05, which teaches Flash. Now, I do have to say, Pikachu can learn this, but I don't recommend teaching this to Pikachu because Flash is not a very good move. And since Rock Tunnel is the only area in the entire game that requires Flash to navigate, I recommend carrying around a slave to use Flash during this portion of the game where you need it, unless you magically have like 6 Pokemon on your team already, which I don't. Anyway, get another Moonstone right there, which is awesome. And right here, there are cut trees to allow us to sneak back to Viridian if we want to, so we can also use this way to sneak around Viridian Forest, because this allows us to navigate to both sides of Route 2. Really, really cool. One really strong point that Kanto has over the other regions is there's a lot of really cool interconnectedness with all of the portions of the region. I feel like Sinnoh is probably the only other region that can make that kind of claim. Which is probably why I really, really like Sinnoh as a region, and I look a lot forward to the Sinnoh remakes that are eventually going to inevitably happen. Hopefully on the Switch, because I would love to play an HD remake of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Like, seriously. That's one of those things that hasn't sunk in yet. It's pretty obvious, wow, voice crack, it's pretty obvious that Nintendo is planning on releasing handheld type games on the Switch as well, so they only have to have one main sort of system. So you know there's going to be a Pokemon game on it at some point, and that makes me absolutely giddy because it's going to look gorgeous. Like, seriously, the 3DS is a 240p screen, the Switch is a 720p screen, which I believe is a tripling of screen size in terms of just height. Don't even ask me about pixel count. It's going to be a huge change, and it's going to be awesome. Like, seriously. But anyway, now that we've got that, I think we want to head back over this way because we need a Pokemon that can learn Cut and Flash. And I'll be honest, I don't know who that is, so I think I'm going to hop into the PC and see what we can find. Well, it turns out I'm totally smart, because it turns out I didn't think this was actually possible, but I guess Bellsprout is actually capable of learning Flash in Generation 7. Alright, let's try this again. According to this moveset calculator I'm using, at least in Generation 7, Paris should be able to learn this. Are you kidding? Alright, third time's the charm, right? Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna give up because, honestly, I was trying to find a Pokemon that could learn both Cut and Flash, but I don't think we actually have any at this point, contrary to what some later games would like to teach us. I guess it's just not gonna happen. So what we're going to do is, since we don't actually have to use cut inside Rock Tunnel, we're just not going to teach anyone Flash until we get to the Pokemon Center right outside Rock Tunnel, because there is a Pokemon Center right there outside Rock Tunnel, so we're just going to make use of that once we get to it. And now I think what we're going to do is we're going to backtrack over to Cerulean, because that is actually the way to Rock Tunnel. That's one really neat thing about Kanto also, is you have to backtrack to a lot of areas to unlock new stuff. Some people might not like it, but I personally really do like it, because I feel like the most boring part of the Unova region is just that big round bit that it's just linear, and it's pretty darn boring. Anyway, I don't even know if I need to heal or not, I'm just going to out of habit, and I should note that I also deposited Flash and the old Amber into the PC because we don't need them in the immediate future. We'll just get Flash out when we need it, when we get to the Pokemon Center outside Rock Tunnel. So I think that's probably a pretty good plan that we've got going there. But anyway, I think with that we are going to be ending things off here, because we are about to enter a new route, and that will take quite a bit of time to fully conquer. So we're going to save that. So, this past episode of Pokemon Yellow, we wrapped up conquering Route 11, and we also went through Diglett's Cave, and we obtained Flash, which we are going to need to progress onwards. And next time on Pokemon Yellow, we're going to be heading out onto Route 8 or 9. 8 or 9, one of those two. I want to say it's 9. You know, I don't remember. I can never remember the routes in the Kanto region. We're heading out to whatever route the route east of Cerulean City is to make our way towards Rock Tunnel. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
Diglett、モグラポケモン。高さ 0.2 メートル。重さ 0.8 キログラム。地中の浅いところを移動。掘り進んだ後は地面が盛り上がっているのですぐわかる。